But there is more talk about a star player on the team, Senior Digital.
But you want to boycott the one player.
I think the biggest thing for me is just I would love a low top shoe. I play in a low top shoe, so that's...
It's just mad. And what they have now trying to do is
What A'ja Wilson just did was unprecedented.
They say pressure makes diamonds, but what happens when one player shines so brightly it cracks the whole league wide open? Caitlin Clark isn't just playing in the WNBA, she's rewriting it. And not everyone's thrilled. In fact, some of the league's biggest names, like A'ja Wilson, are practically pleading for someone to hit pause. Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise. If you're a fan, this isn't just about basketball. It's about what happens when popularity, performance, and perception collide in real time. Maybe you've followed Caitlin since her Iowa days. Maybe you're just now hearing the name lighting up headlines and Twitter feeds. But wherever you stand, there's no denying it. Caitlin Clark has become the most polarizing name in women's basketball. Let's talk about why A'ja Wilson and other stars are starting to throw shade, and how it all started with one of the most talked about rookies in WNBA history. In just her rookie season with the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark went from college sensation to the undeniable face of the WNBA. She didn't just join the league, she took it by storm, breaking records, drawing ratings, and putting women's basketball under a global spotlight. Clark's on-court game was never in question. At Iowa, she shattered scoring records, led her team to national championships, and became the NCAA's all-time leading scorer. But the real drama began the moment she stepped onto a WNBA court. In her debut season, she didn't just perform, she exploded. Rookie of the Year, unanimously. 66 out of 67 votes went her way. Most assists in a single game? Check. Most assists in a season? Check. She topped the league in all-star votes, broke the three-point record, and drew sold-out crowds in nearly every arena she visited, all in year one. But her dominance wasn't just skill, it was strategy. The physical evolution of a superstar. What set Caitlin apart wasn't just her shooting range or her killer court vision. It was what she did before the season even started. The WNBA has always been a physically demanding league, and early skeptics wondered whether Clark's lean frame would hold up against veteran defenders used to playing with real muscle. So she flipped the script. Clark entered a rigorous off-season strength and conditioning program, one tailored for elite athleticism. Trainers focused on building a core that could withstand contact, legs powerful enough to extend her already lethal range, and arms that could deliver through traffic. The transformation was obvious. She came back stronger, more balanced, and far more physically dominant. Defenders who once knocked her off her spot now bounced off her. And suddenly, Clark wasn't just taking hits, she was delivering them. Stephanie White, her head coach, publicly said it wasn't a tweak, it was a full-on rebuild. That new frame? It's what made her unstoppable. And yet, instead of celebrating the evolution, some players began voicing frustration. TV time tensions. Here's where things start to boil over. The Indiana Fever have 41 out of their 44 games scheduled for national broadcast this season. To put that in perspective, the defending champion New York Liberty only got 32. You'd think more people watching means more growth for the league, right? Apparently not everyone sees it that way. Nafisa Collier, star for the Minnesota Lynx and vice president of the WNBA Players Association, went on ESPN's First Take and stirred the pot. When asked about the TV schedule imbalance, Collier tried walking a tightrope. On one hand, she admitted Clark's a star and people want to watch her. On the other, she called the TV schedule crazy and unfair. Collier even suggested that other teams should get more national games without taking any away from the Fever. A nice idea, but it shows a fundamental misunderstanding of how broadcasting works. Networks only have so many slots. If one team gets more coverage, someone else gets less. It's basic economics. And speaking of economics, let's break down the numbers. The Caitlin Clark effect. Let's put it plainly, Caitlin Clark is a walking ratings machine. 18 of the 20 most watched WNBA games last year featured the Indiana Fever. The only two that didn't. One was Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. The other was an Aces versus. Sky game that aired immediately before a Fever game, meaning it likely borrowed some of her viewers. TV execs aren't playing favourites, they're following the money. ESPN, CBS, ABC, they all want a piece of Clark's audience. This isn't about favouritism, it's about survival in a competitive media landscape. And Stephen A. Smith wasn't afraid to say it out loud. He fired back on First Take, comparing Clark's rise to Michael Jordan's in the 1980s. Back then, the NBA practically built its entire marketing engine around a young Jordan long before he ever won a ring. Why? Because he brought eyes, sold jerseys, and filled arenas. Sound familiar? Old guard versus new icon. But here's the real tension. Clark isn't just a fresh face, she's disrupting an entire system. Before she arrived, players like Aja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and Candace Parker were the stars. The league had a clear hierarchy. Clark shattered that overnight. Now she's getting more attention, more endorsements, and more interviews, and it's making the old guard uncomfortable. Aja Wilson, one of the most decorated players in the league, is now frequently linked to controversial comments, some of which imply frustration over Clark's rise. Whether it's subtle digs or outright criticism, there's a sense among fans and analysts that Wilson and others wish Clark would slow down or at least stop hogging the spotlight. But here's the thing, Clark didn't ask for this. She earned it. Every shot, every assist, every gritty finish at the rim, it's her play that's made her the main event. And what's more, she's always said she wants to grow the game for everyone. She even said it in high school, her dream wasn't just to be great, it was to elevate the entire league. She hoped the WNBA would add more teams, give more women a shot, and sell out arenas. And guess what? That's happening. Not because of media hype, because of her. The Diana Taurasi, Candace Parker, and Breanna Stewart comments. Let's not forget when Diana Taurasi, one of the league's all-time greats, questioned if Caitlin Clark would make it in the pros. That soundbite went viral. Critics latched onto it. They said Clark wouldn't handle the physicality, that she was too young, too soft, too college. And now, Taurasi's silence is louder than her doubt, because Clark didn't just make it, she redefined what a rookie season looks like. That's not hype, that's a fact. She dropped dimes, she drained threes, she took contact from seasoned vets and came back stronger. The game changed because she changed it. Now, even Taurasi fans are starting to recognise the reality. Clark is the real deal. Not every vet is throwing shade. Candace Parker, two-time MVP and now a respected analyst, praised Clark's impact. She noted how Clark forces defenders to guard her the second she crosses half court. That kind of gravity changes everything. Offensive spacing, team defense, coaching strategy. Breanna Stewart too acknowledged that Clark's effect goes beyond stat sheets. She's changing how people watch the game. Stewart said Clark was holding her own and showing everyone what she can do. Coming from Stewart, that's not just a compliment, it's a stamp of approval. What suspension talk says about the league's future? Now let's get back to Aja Wilson. While no formal suspension has been requested, there's a growing online narrative fueled by some of Wilson's more frustrated comments and social media interactions. Fans have interpreted her tone as something close to, "Please make it stop." Whether that's true or not, the conversation has sparked a deeper question. Is the league truly ready for the kind of fame Clark brings? Because it's not just about basketball anymore. It's about cameras at every game, headlines every day, pressure every minute, and Caitlin Clark is wearing it all with a smile. She trains like a vet, plays like a killer, talks like a leader. She's the total package. And that makes her a target. But here's what her critics don't realise. Caitlin Clark isn't asking for your approval. She's asking for your best game, because that's what legends do. In the end, the truth is the league doesn't need to suspend Caitlin Clark. It needs to protect her, celebrate her, learn from her. Because stars like this don't come around often. And when they do, they don't just change teams, they change history. Clark is still just getting started. Year 1 was a statement. Year 2, that's going to be a revolution. So what do you think? Is the hate justified? Are players like Aja Wilson reacting out of jealousy or fear? Or is this just the normal growing pains of a league leveling up fast? Let us know in the comments. Do you think Caitlin Clark deserves this spotlight, or has the media blown things out of proportion? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. We're diving deep into everything WNBA, from court drama to locker room whispers, and we want you here for all of it. Let's keep this conversation going.